Hey, Sean Baker, the director, the shooter, as you're called, otherwise known as cinematography, the person who actually came up with, I guess, the story and worked with the cast on the dialogue for the new film Prince of Broadway, which is being presented by no less than last year's Oscar-nominated director of Precious, Lee Daniels. It's a New York story about a Ghanaian immigrant who sells counterfeit goods. He's a hustler, and basically he gets saddled with a little 18-month-old baby, and he freaks out and is in no way ready to be a father, much less have this interfere with his job hustling customers on the street to come buy fake merchandise. How did you get interested in this movie, Sean?
Well, I have to say it all stems from location. I had made a previous film that I co-directed with Shi-Ching Zhou called Takeout, which was also a New York film. And
you're an NYU student, grad of New York NYU Film School, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay, and this is your third movie.
Yes, it is.
And Takeout was your second, then.
Right.
And what was your first?
My first film was called Four Letter Words.
Okay.
It was a much smaller film, and it premiered at South by Southwest. It sort of did a film festival circuit. It got released on DVD. But it wasn't until Takeout, which was released last year, also nominated for the same Independent Spirit Award, and released by Kino, that it really got me interested in the urban social realist stories that I was so influenced by with other films. So there's this section of the city of Manhattan called the Wholesale District. It runs between 26th and 30th Street on Broadway. And I always considered it to be the most vibrant, colorful area of New York. And it was a place that I thought, hey, it's never been shown on film before. So I went into that district with a partner of mine at the time, Victoria Tate, who plays Nadia in the film. We did research for over a year there, getting to know both the West African hustlers and people who worked in that area, and the Lebanese shop owners, and saw the way that the business was performed and their interactions. And we met Prince Adu, who actually worked in that area at the time. Prince even further introduced us to the whole world and helped us out. And we really developed a story. A friend of mine by the name of Darren Dean came onto the project to help me co-write a screenplay. And we developed it along with Prince to really to find a story there. Originally we thought it was going to, I'll make this fast, originally we thought it was going to be about one shop owner in particular and just the daily interactions with West African hustlers. But we felt there wasn't really a plot there. And finally this idea of throwing a child in the middle of this mix came to us because in a way I always felt like a child in that area. I felt it was a sensory overload. I felt that I was very, even though I had lived in New York City, I felt very much like always felt like that area.
So it wasn't because you happened to just go see Charlie Chaplin's The Kid and said, a classic story is a classic story, let's get going.
No, I have to say that if anything, it was more influenced by Our Gang, the Our Gang comedies than The Kid.
So Prince Adu is an actual Ghanaian immigrant.
Yes.
Who stars in your film, yes. But he is not Prince of Broadway.
No, but his first name definitely inspired the title. Prince of Broadway is the child
who, for so long in the movie, has no name whatsoever.
Exactly.
Now, how, as a director, do you work with an 18-month-old baby? I mean, that is just remarkable, frankly.
Well, to tell you the truth, he didn't reach the terrible twos yet, and he was actually just the most well-behaved kid ever, and he was very much just, I think, taking in the world around him, and I was documenting him watching the world. And so it actually, he was at that age where he probably wasn't comprehending what was going on. He was just really just watching these crazy adults repeat scenes around him, and and it must have been a very surreal experience for him. But
Does Prince Adu have children?
Yes, he has one son.
And is he in the movie too?
No, he's
Okay. And what about the child's mother or father? How did that work out?
Well, Kat Sanchez, who plays Linda in the film, is his actual mother.
And who is Linda in the film?
Linda is Prince's mother. So the real mother played the mother.
The horrible character of the mother who
Yeah.
just can't stand having this kid around
It's
anymore
very difficult.
and is with a very horrible man who obviously doesn't want a child around either. That's a remarkable piece of casting.
It was just a lucky find for us. And Kat, it was very difficult for her because obviously she is a very loving mother who was there at all times, just off screen, to comfort Aiden, to be there for him. But then in scenes where she was alone, having to tell her on-screen mother that she didn't want anything to do with this kid and dropping the kid off, it was actually very dramatic for her. But that's what I think allowed us to get those emotions to come out. That she was obviously very torn playing this sort of character.
I must compliment you that the film style is so invigorating and so fast-paced, and the cinematography is so quick and beautiful, even though the story has all of these sordid aspects to it. Was that something you learned at NYU? Was that, were you obsessed with commercials or music videos or something, and you've taken this into feature storytelling? Because it really makes the movie, I think.
Well, thank you so much. I personally don't really like shooting myself. It's something that I find very stressful. But in this situation, because of monetary reasons, I had to. I couldn't afford a director of photography, and I felt I could handle it myself. But it also, I realized in hindsight that it actually was very vital to the whole process. And what it did was that because I was actually shooting it and actually operating the camera, it allowed me to be very intimate with the actors.
And how did Lee Daniels get involved with all of this?
Lee saw our film while on the nominating committee for the Independent Spirit Awards, and we had discussed, he had called me one day to discuss the production style behind both Takeout and Prince of Broadway, and was asking me questions about how we did it so clandestine. And he, I guess eventually when the film was about to be released, we approached him and said, would you consider
putting your name?
Presenting the film the way that Scorsese just recently introduced Gomorrah, and in the past Oliver Stone had his name on Gravesend, those sort of things. And he was immediately took to it, and I'm very thankful that he did. I think that it's just his name attached to this project just gets it out there and gets audiences that might not have been interested in this small movie now interested in it.
Sean Baker, how old are you now, and what do you plan to do next?
I hate revealing my age. I'm 39, and right now I am planning a new film that is going to be co-directed with Shi-Ching Zhou, who I did Takeout with, and that's a family drama that takes place in Taiwan. And that's about it for right now.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.